There are moments in a man's life when his own mind becomes his greatest battlefield, when thoughts turn into storms, when fear spreads like fire, when doubt whispers louder than truth, and when the world around him seems determined to break his focus, drain his strength, and shatter his peace. But listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you will change the way you understand your own mind forever. You were not created to be ruled by emotions. You were not designed to be controlled by fear, distraction, or the chaos of the world. You were made for something higher, something stronger, something unshakable. And if you stay with me until the end of this message, you will learn the biblical and Stoic secret that turns an ordinary man into an unstoppable one. The secret that allows you to rise above your thoughts, your fears, your impulses, and the noise of the world. A secret powerful enough to rebuild your life from the inside out. Before we begin, I ask you to do one secret act, an act of unity and strength. If this message speaks to your soul, subscribe to this channel, press the like button, and leave a comment. Not for the algorithm, but because your engagement helps this message reach other men who are fighting their battles alone. Your action may save someone who has no one else to stand beside him. Now, let's go deeper. The truth is simple, but it's brutal. The man who doesn't control his mind is controlled by everything around him. He becomes a slave to the opinions of others, to his own emotions, to every distraction that pulls him away from purpose. And a man who is not in control is not free. But here is the good news. God did not leave us powerless. Scripture repeatedly commands, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Take every thought captive. Be sober-minded and vigilant. These are not poetic suggestions. These are battle instructions. God gives the strength. But discipline, that is your responsibility. And 2,000 years ago, the Stoics discovered a similar truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Seneca warned, "A man who is everywhere is nowhere." Both paths, biblical and Stoic, point to the same foundational truth. Control your mind, and you control your life. Now let me show you what this looks like in the real world. Imagine a man in a toxic workplace. Every day, his boss speaks to him with disrespect. His co-workers gossip behind his back. The environment drains his confidence, poisons his peace, and fills his mind with constant anxiety. His first impulse is to react, to defend himself, to fight back emotionally, to argue, to try to force respect. But reactions are chains. The more he tries to fight emotionally, the more power he gives away. The Stoic response is different. He steps back. He observes instead of absorbs. He controls his breathing, his tone, his thoughts. He refuses to allow disrespect to enter his inner world. He remembers the words of Proverbs. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. He stays calm, and calmness becomes his advantage. His peace confuses his enemies. His discipline earns respect, and eventually he rises above them, not by force, but by self-mastery. Now let's look at another situation. A man goes through heartbreak. The person he loved walks away. He feels rejected, abandoned, unworthy. His mind becomes a battlefield of what if, why wasn't I enough, and what do I do now? This pain is real, but here's the truth the world never teaches. Emotional pain is not the enemy. The lack of control is. A Stoic doesn't deny the pain. He faces it. He allows himself to feel it, but he does not drown in it. He says, as Job said, "The Lord gives, and the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. He accepts the reality. He stabilizes his thoughts. He sits with the pain, but he refuses to let it define him. He rebuilds himself with discipline, a disciplined morning, disciplined work, disciplined prayer, disciplined thoughts. And the day comes when the pain loses its power, because he learned to master his mind instead of letting his emotions master him. This is the strength of the biblical Stoic path, not the absence of pain, but the power to rise above it. Now let's go even deeper, into the core of self-control. You will never become unstoppable until you understand this truth. Your mind is the gatekeeper of your destiny. Every distraction is a thief. Every emotional overreaction is a prison. Every uncontrolled thought is a chain. You must learn to guard your mind the way a warrior guards a fortress. So let me give you 10 powerful disciplines, not as a list, but as principles you internalize, shape, and live by. First, control your attention. Where attention goes, your life follows. If you scatter it, you scatter your purpose. If you concentrate it, you become a force the world cannot move. Second, control your breath. When the breath is calm, the mind becomes still. In every crisis, every conflict, every moment of pressure, breathe slowly, deeply. This one act can save you from 100 mistakes. Third, control your reactions. Pause before responding. The first reaction is usually emotion. The second is usually wisdom. Fourth, control your environment. You cannot grow in places filled with noise and chaos. As Scripture says, bad company corrupts good character. Protect your surroundings as fiercely as your thoughts. Fifth, control your inputs. What you watch, read, listen to, and absorb shapes your mind. If you feed your soul with poison, don't be surprised when your thoughts become toxic. Sixth, control your interpretation of events. You cannot control what happens, but you can control the meaning you assign to it. This is the Stoic superpower. Seventh, control your imagination. Most fear is imaginary. Most anxiety is fiction. Your mind must be trained to tell the difference between reality and stories. Eighth, control your goals. A man without purpose becomes a man controlled by whims. The disciplined man knows what he wakes up for. Ninth, control your identity. Stop defining yourself by failure or emotion. Define yourself by discipline, faith, and action. And finally, control your spiritual posture. A man who trusts God stands on a foundation that cannot break. When you combine faith with self-discipline, you become a man the world cannot move. This is what it means to be unstoppable. When you learn to control your mind, fear loses its voice, doubt loses its grip, temptation loses its attraction, and the chaos of the world becomes background noise. You walk through storms with calm. You face pressure with clarity. You handle conflict with dignity. You endure suffering with purpose. You become the man God intended you to be. And now, as we close, I want you to hear this truth deeply. The world is full of men who are strong physically, talented intellectually, impressive externally, but weak internally, controlled by emotions, impulses, desires, and distractions. Do not be one of them. The world needs men with disciplined minds, men of vision, men of faith, men of purpose, men who lead, who stand firm, who rise above the atmosphere of chaos and noise. Be that man. And if this message speaks to your heart, do the secret act of strength. Subscribe to this channel, leave a like, and write in the comments. We act together, brothers. May God preserve you. Trust in Him, and He will act.